To please have a seat. A very warm good morning to everyone present here. On behalf of IPS Academy Institute of Business Management and Research Indore, a NAC A++ accredited UGC Autonomous Institute, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all the dignitaries, resource person, faculty participants, and invited guests to this AICTE ATAL Academy sponsored 6-day faculty development program on the theme promoting entrepreneurship and advancing the startup ecosystem within academia, empowering educators. The objective of this FDP is to strengthen the entrepreneurial mindset within academia, helping the educators to integrate innovation, startup culture, research commercialization, and industry academia collaboration into their teaching and institutional ecosystem. Dear participants, we are extremely delighted to have among us Dr. A. Thillai Rajan as the chief guest of this 6-day AICTE Atal Academy sponsored faculty development program and also the resource person for today's session. Let me take the privilege of introducing Dr. A. Thillai Rajan to the participants. Dr. A. Thillai Rajan is a professor at IIT Madras and an associate at Harvard Kennedy School. He is known for his expertise in venture capital, private equity, startup finance, and infrastructure finance. He is the co-founder of YNOS Venture Engine, a platform that empowers early-stage entrepreneurs with data-driven insights and startup intelligence. He is also the co-founder of Geonomics Research and Technologies, a firm focused on infrastructure analytics, consulting, and governance solutions. At IIT Madras, he leads the Center for Research on Startups and Risk Financing, contributing significantly to India's entrepreneurial research landscape. Sir is recognized for his strong contributions to the startup ecosystem. He actively bridges academic research with innovation, policy, and real-world entrepreneurship support. Today, he is going to guide us on how to build industry-academia partnership. So we are extremely delighted to have you here. May I now humbly request Dr. Satyakam Dubey sir, Director Admissions IPS Academy, to formally welcome Dr. A. Thillai Rajan sir with a sapling. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here today. And now, dear participants, without much ado, I would now invite Dr. A. Thillai Rajan, sir, to take up the stage. Sir, the stage is all yours now. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause, everyone.
Okay, good morning. So nice to see all of you this morning, and thanks for taking the time out to be a part of this program. And I would also like to thank the IPS Academy and particularly Professor Pallavi for putting up this program and give me an opportunity to be a part of this program. And so I can really talk about a lot of things, but I just felt that I need to make my session more relevant because IIT Madras is a system that's maybe a little different from the system that is here. Right? And so there may be a different set of constraints, the context might be different. So therefore, I want to kind of talk about some things that may be relevant for all of us here, so that we can at least go ahead and implement some things that possibly we can take out of this program. Right? So we will try and make this more interactive. If you can possibly think of what are the points that you would like to kind of get some kind of discussions that will be helpful. In the meanwhile, I will talk initially my own impressions about the relevance of university, and then what people talk about industry academia collaborations and so on. My contribution, my experience has been largely in the area of startup ecosystem. Okay, and that is not the focus of, though the program is about startup ecosystem within academia. Maybe I will not touch upon it. Maybe maybe till the break. But after that, I'll try and briefly tell you the kind of work that I have been doing in the startup ecosystem. But initially, I think that I should focus on the topic in which that's been allocated to me, which is the industry academia collaboration. I will start with a few of my own observations that I kind of looked at it from various aspects. And then after that, we can look at something that may be more relevant, right, to each of us in our day-to-day context. Is that okay? Okay. English is okay, right? Everybody is comfortable in English? Okay, right. क्योंकि मेरा हिंदी अच्छा नहीं है थोड़ा, right? So, okay. See, if you really look at the university broadly has traditionally three different strands, right? One is a primary role is teaching, right? That's our first role, right? How do you really teach? And then the second would be to really look at research. Generally, many universities, though they start as teaching institutes, everybody's aspiration is, okay, can I become like, do some research, right? I think all of us here will like to say that, okay, initially I come in as a teacher, then I want to write papers, I want to guide PhD students, right? Or if people, or if some of us don't have PhDs, we all think that, can we actually go ahead and do a PhD, right? Somehow research is something that most faculty members are aspiring. So today, many of my batchmates who have been working in the industry for a long time, okay, after they have become tired of the industry, or they want to quit industry, they want to retire, the first thing that everybody has in mind is, okay, can I go and do a PhD, okay, at age of 50, okay. So they have made all the money the industry needs, and then they've occupied top positions, but somehow they feel that, oh, there is an emptiness, okay, there is something that they have achieved so much in the industry, but then this part of the PhD is missing, and they all want to somehow see if they can get that goal, right? So research is something that even people outside, they are keen, right? And as academics, we are also firmly believe that how much ever we teach, is there something that we can do in terms of research, right? I think that comes as a part of the job, right? We try and devote some time to teaching, but then we also try and see if we can fit in some research, right? The third major role is how we can contribute to the society. That is largely in terms of how we can collaborate with the industry. Okay. So these are the three major: teaching, research, and industry collaboration used to be the three strands on a university. By and large, most of the academic activity, faculty members has these three strands, right? And for long, The industry thing, what was the university? Industry thought the university as something, okay, the university will train students for us, right, so that we can absorb them as jobs. Okay. The industry was looking at university as, in some sense, a factory which produces input for the industry. That's what was happening, right? They need to recruit somebody, and entry-level talent has to come from the university. And universities also, they had a lot of pressure, because the students who are studying, they have to get jobs, right? Only if the students get jobs, the next batch of students will come. Okay. That used to be the primary, what used to be called as the interface between the industry and university, where industry was looking for trained manpower from the universities. And universities had to constantly, keep track of the requirements of the industry. Industry says that I need these skills, then the university will have to go ahead and modify and then include those skills in the curriculum, and then train the students that meets the requirements of the industry. This used to be the traditional thing, right? Anybody having different thoughts to this? All of us are agreeing, right? So I was also, of this is what it is, right? What is the fundamental fear that maybe all of us will have professionally? Everybody has personally we will have a lot of fears. Okay, tomorrow what will happen if something goes wrong? Everybody has some kind of fear. Okay. I was just speaking to Professor Pallavi, I think, how this the airline the tamasha was happening in the last 3-4 days, right? So our fear would be, will the program happen or not? Will people be able to, actively? So that's a fear, right? Everybody has a different set of fear, right? But generally, what is the fear that many of us might have? Professionally, no, I'm not doing it personally. Professionally, what is the fear that each of us might have? One common fear. Anybody can like to? Huh? Security. Security of a job, okay. Security of a job, when you feel insecure, right? When will you feel insecure? No problem, we can just, I'm just trying to kind of get some. Right. Okay, so when change happens, right? When change happens, then you feel that, okay, so it's a very nice point. Anybody else would like to?
Sir, again, when the change happens in the industry,
Huh?
and our curriculum doesn't meet that change, and we can't train the students correctly and make them industry ready. That is one of the fears we usually have.
Correct. I think you've hit upon a very, very nice point. I'll tell you an example, right? What has happened. I'm talking about Chennai only. So this BCom curriculum was there, right? And BCom curriculum, originally there used to be this sales tax. There used to be a course called sales tax and all these things, right? And suddenly government changed to GST. Okay. But the university curriculum has not changed. Students are still reading sales tax and all these things when it's no longer relevant, right? GST has come. GST is being used in the marketplace, but then people are studying something that is no longer going to be relevant, right? So these things keep happening. So the fundamental fear that all of us might have is, which will emerging from this is, what if I lose my relevance? Okay. If I lose my relevance in the scheme of things, then that's where the insecurity comes. Nobody is going to come to us because we are no longer relevant. Right? And what happens at the individual level also happens to the institutions. For IPS Academy, the fear is that, will tomorrow students come? When I say tomorrow, next year, will students come and enroll in the program that we are conducting? Will the institute be relevant? Students will come if the institute is relevant, if the institute is giving something that is helpful for the students, right? So most of the Indian universities are having this kind of fear, okay? Will I be relevant? I mean, I'm talking about all institutes. I'm talking about IIT Madras. I'm not talking with boasting or something. So today IIT Madras is ranked, let's say, number 1 institute in the country. And we also have that fear. Will I be relevant? Will I be relevant in tomorrow's context? Will people come to study? Will I be able to make an impact? Will I be able to cater to the needs of the industry and all of those things, right? And I think this fear is there even for all the universities across the world, generally speaking. Then I was very fortunate for various visits. I happened to visit a university called Harvard University in the US, right? I think Harvard University, most of you might know that it's one of the top universities in the world, right? So they also had this fear. They also have this fear. I mean, will I be relevant? And the way they manage that fear is very different from what we as Indian institutes have been doing. Okay. That is a very stark contrast, right? What we have been doing as Indian institutes is, okay, we kind of saying, okay, if industry was something, we will try as quickly as possible to give what they want. Okay? If they want something tomorrow, we'll try and see how quickly we can. We're trying to be relevant to what the industry wants, right? That's our approach. But Harvard thinking is, I'm sick and tired of reacting to the industry. Okay? I don't want to constantly keep on reacting to what the industry wants. Right? So that university said that, I want to define how the world moves forward. Okay? I want to tell the industry that I want to give industry the direction. Industry should not give the direction to me. Right? I want the industry to follow the university, not the university to follow the industry. Right? So they completely changed the way the system worked. And that was I mean, for me it was an eye-opener. The industry should follow me. I need to tell the industry should come back and tell me, okay, which way I should go. I don't have to go and ask the industry, what should I do for you? But the industry should come and ask me, how should I plan for the years ahead, right? And that is the way they felt that they can be relevant. Because somebody ought to always come to me. The industry has to come to me. And when somebody comes to me, I stay relevant. So I have been thinking as Indian education institutes, can we kind of move to that level where the industry looks upon academia and then looks at academia for setting the direction, looks at academia for showing them which way the trends are going to go. And that possibly is a way, I think, where we can all stay relevant. So do you agree that or not? But then that is going to be difficult. That's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of hard work. But if we persist, I'm sure that change can happen. I'm not bringing in, let's say, anything related to religion here, but then for IIT Madras for a long time, there's always this conflict between Saraswati and Lakshmi, right? We're all familiar with the Hindu, right, philosophy, right? So Saraswati is the goddess of education and Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, right? So which should actually have primacy, right? So industry represents goddess of wealth, right? And Saraswati represents goddess of education. And for a long time, in the institute, they felt that these two cannot coexist. They cannot live together, right? I mean, they cannot live together in the same house. They cannot live together in the same place, right? So commercial things were shunned, right? People, okay, if you say that you're doing a consulting project, there'll be no respect among the faculty members. Kya karta hai? I mean, the consulting, right? If you're doing research, which is essentially trying to look at education and all that, the peer respect will be a lot higher. See, ultimately what we all like, right, Students will always say, yes, sir. They'll always say, very respectful. And people senior, they don't care anyway. What we all crave for is peer respect. Okay. That's what everybody likes, because when peer respect comes, they know the challenges, they know, what we are doing, and if we are all looking at peer respect. Right? Research used to get a lot of peer respect. And there was a very stated thing that, okay, anything that involves very pursuit of wealth in an education institute was kind of not seen as a good thing. But then, over a period of time, things changed. And today, the institute encourages what is called as commercialization, right? When I say commercialization, technology is there in the lab, and that lab technology has to somehow get to the market. And that involves what is called as a translation or commercialization, right? So commercialization is today encouraged. People are actually encouraging to file patents as much as write papers. So therefore, things are gradually changing, that they are not like oil and water. Saraswati and Lakshmi can coexist. And we should kind of create an ecosystem, we should kind of create a culture that helps this kind of coexistence. But ultimately what I am trying to say is that this conflict, this ability to kind of, the tension between education, the tension between education, industry is going to always exist. When I say industry, I am trying to really look at industry has a wide variety of things. Industry can actually mean startups, industry can mean SMEs, industry can mean large companies, industries can be government, industries can be international agencies, right? So anything that consumes the knowledge, the resources that the education institute generate, we can call it industry, right? So this is always going to be a very tenuous connection, right? Because they are two different things. Right, as I was just mentioning, one is looking at knowledge, the other is looking at wealth. They are going to have two different paths. But then, as institutes, can we try and see if wealth can follow education? And at the same time, industry is going to look at, okay, I'm creating so much of wealth, I need everybody to, take care of my interest. If I say something, university should kind of, okay, quickly adapt and then cater to my interest. So that's what the industry is going to think. If we kind of change and then look at it and then say that, okay, I am going to set the direction, right? I am going to set the direction in terms of what you should be doing 10 years from now. And if industry takes the direction from academia, because we all have the luxury to think about the future, right? What does people in industry do? People will actually, they have a very, very eyes and ears to the ground. That's what the industry is all about, right? Everybody are looking at day-to-day challenges. They don't have the luxury of taking a step back and thinking. They are battling every day's fires, right? So if we can, academia, have the luxury of taking a step back and thinking and looking at the big picture, and if you can give the industry what is going to be the roadmap for the future, I think then we can stay relevant. Because some of the greatest ideas in many sense actually come from academia, right? So the only thing is that we have to keep that going. We have to keep that going, right? And it can happen at all levels. It need not happen only at the top universities in the world. It should happen in each and every university. Right? If we can do that, then I think the relevance of the university will continue to exist, right? The relevance of the university, the insecurity that you might have, okay, what will happen? So every day I get up in the morning, people ask me, so you're still at IIT? I told them, yes, I'm at IIT. As long as I have students coming tomorrow to study, my job will be there. So it all depends on the students coming to study, right? The students will come and study when they think that, okay, they'll get a job. Or when they think that they are finding it something useful, right? The moment that stops, no student is going to come. So this is what I want to set the context to my thoughts. Any questions? We can possibly take a few minutes. Maybe I would like to get your thoughts to this. Yes.
I have catched up three words: research, teaching, and industry collaborations. So, sir, I have questions related about the three words. What are the major factors influencing the behavior of student and teaching toward these particular words?
What are the?
Particular words. What are the major factors? Majorly influence the behavior of students, teaching, then industry, then skip and research. Major factors highly influencing the behavior.
Sure, I got it. Right?
Yes, sir.
See, students are like children, right? Children, if you give a candy, they will like you very much, right? That's what they do. Right? They don't care who you are, but you give them a chocolate and then they like you. I think students are like that. Students like, these days what happens now, students like classroom performance. That's what they expect. Right? What they want from the faculty. Right? So my own experience is that they want all faculty members to be like stand-up comedians, right? Entertain. Right? When they come here for one hour or 90 minutes or something, they want to be entertained. That's their first. So along with entertainment, if you are able to give all the other factors, then, so it's a great researcher, right? Published, top journals and is among the peer reviews, a lot of respect. But he goes to the class and if he's not able to deliver, right, that performance, then students will say, okay, fine, he's a great researcher, but then I have respect, but I may not actually go and enroll for his classes, right? That is what I think. So today, what makes you give a great performance in the class? I think that I should come back, right? So research and the industry projects that we take helps us to deliver better performance in the class. That is for sure, right? But how we are able to teach the other day, I was also talking to another faculty who just retired, and then I was talking to him. Right? So he was mentioning that the classroom connect that we have with the students, right? That somebody have it, somebody don't have it. This is very simple, right? I don't know how. It can be developed over a period of time, that is for sure. But then the ability to capture the attention, the ability to get the attention of the students, some people, I think, innately they have that ability to capture the attention of the students. Okay? And I don't know how, but I think it is in some extent true. If we can cultivate that ability to capture the attention of the students, ability to deliver better performance in the class, then we will be able to integrate our research, integrate our industry in a much better fashion. Right? So today I think, I'll tell you what, so I've been working a lot with the industry, my own projects and all those things, right? All our faculty members here, any student? Oh, there are a lot of students, okay. So they cannot say something, they can tell only to faculty members, right? What students, what are you studying? PhD students, okay. Okay, so you might be getting into teaching role sometime in the future, right? Okay. See, sometimes what happens is, student actually, students do many things, right? First of all, I'll just list at the top. Students, first of all, what they do is they want to test the faculty. Okay, I don't know how. So we saying that we give exams, we test the students. No, students want to test the faculty, right? Is he worthy enough to come to the class? That's the first thing, right? The first class of any subject, students will test. Okay, they'll all observe, right? What are the drawbacks that he's having? mean, we're all been students, right? So I remember, right? So there used to be one faculty who used to repeat a particular phrase, okay, throughout, okay. This means used to be a word that he used to repeat throughout the class. And there were students who were counting how many times they were saying this means in the class, right? The students are evaluating the faculty, right? That's what the students do, right? Number one. The second is the students, I mean, though I have said a little bit here and there, ultimately students are able to be a little bit very clear about where they are getting value, which class is getting value, which class they are not getting value. They are able to get that sense of it, right? If they are getting value in a class, they attend the class, right, without any force. May not be 100%, but at least 80% of them attend the class on their own. They think that, okay, I'm getting a lot of value. So we used to have a faculty. I studied my management at IIM Bangalore. So we used to have a faculty. So he worked several years in one of India's largest conglomerates. I will not name which company is that, but then because the faculty name is obviously known, okay. It was very strict. No comedy, no entertainment, nothing. But people thought that they're getting a lot of value, and then people used to roar in his class, right? So what happened is there were 3 sections, and A, B, and C. Feeling sleepy? Yes? No? There were 3 sections, A, B, and C. So he was allocated to a section C, okay, to teach corporate strategy. First year course, not a first year course, compulsory course for all the MBA students, corporate strategy. And the next two sections, A and B, they went and complained to the director. How come he is allocated only section C? We are also paying fees as much as they are paying. It's not possible that he teaches only that section C. They went on a fast for 2 days, that he should teach us also. Right? See, that's a kind of, they saw value that they have to be in his class. Right? I mean, I think that's a feeling that all of us would like to, as faculty members and students, demand, okay, you teach them. I mean, that's possibly the greatest honor that we may all get, right? Not any awards or something like that. The real feeling that the students have that, this faculty should come and teach us, right? And how did he get that? Because he had several years of experience in the industry. And he actually was, he was executive assistant who happens to be India's richest man today. Let me not name who that person is, but then if you can guess, it's fine. But today we don't know who is the richest person. There are several knees, right? There's Adani, there's Ambani, there is that knee, this knee and all that, right? But there's one of the richest man, right? So when he comes to the class, you cannot say anything against what he says because you don't know. He speaks a lot of authority. So research and industry projects gives you an authority to speak in the class because you know about that subject a lot more than possibly anybody else. Or you could probably know about the subject a lot more than anybody else possibly. So today when something happens in the area of startups, when I come and say in the class, this is a fact of status, this is a startup, nobody can, I may be wrong. Or I may even say a wrong fact just to escape this, but nobody can question it because they may think, oh man, this guy, he should be saying something that's true. So this is what I think research and industry gives. It gives you an authority to speak on a particular subject, which people will find it very difficult to question. So to answer your question, which is important, it depends. In a classroom performance is important. Right? But classroom performance is better if you undertake research on industry projects. Right? Right. So it's ultimately like, we all like Virat Kohli or we all like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, their on-field performance. But backing that on-field performance is, hours and hours of practice. Right? So similarly, the work that we do in research and industry helps us to be better teachers because we can speak with a lot of authority. The confidence that we get by doing these projects, and when we come, because students like their faculty members to be, confident. They'll test us. Okay, are we knowing the subject or not, right? Are we able to handle their questions properly? Once they get confidence that, okay, man, this guy is good, or whatever, the guy I'm using it in a very neutral sense, right? So then I think they start respecting a lot. I personally felt that all the projects that I did helps me to be a better teacher in the class. Because in class, we cannot wear that I'm a great researcher, I work a lot of, but class, they are looking at how you are in the class, right? You have no assistants, right? You have, it's one against, 80, 90 people. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can please sit down.
Good morning, sir. So
Please sit down.
I'm a bit skeptical about presenting my opinion here. I want to ask the question, but first I will also state my thought. So as you said that Harvard is trying to lead the industry, and we at India, we are trying to follow the industry. So I think that part is correct, sir. So my opinion is that, sir, since that depends on the kind of facilities we have. So like if we don't have the facility to compete with the industry, so we are, our institutes, we have like 10 years or 20 years outdated technologies. And with that, we cannot, I believe we cannot lead the industry. Of course, innovation is possible, but it is not very easy to show the way to industry and do innovation and compete with the industrial research. So I would be really grateful if you could change that perspective for me.
No, I completely agree with you. But I will give you a different example, right? So I have a daughter, right? She's a little older now, but then when she was younger, maybe when she was studying 5th or 6th or something like that, right? She say, okay, do this thing. And I told it's not possible, or I have some limitations, and or why it cannot be done, all kinds of things, right? You know how children are, right? I mean, they have their own wisdom and their own expressing things, right? And she always comes back with the response that a bad workman always blames the tools, right? Let me repeat it again, right? A bad workman always blames the tools. Right? So we can always take refuge in the context that, okay, fine, this is not possible, right? But what we can do within the limited, everybody has a constraint, right? I completely agree with you. I mean, in fact, all the time I kind of think that, okay, they have a different set of, but I can tell you, the constraints are there everywhere. They also have constraints, we also have constraints, everybody has certain constraints. And what is it that we can do given the constraint? Because we cannot change the constraint. We have to work within the constraints for a variety of reasons. Maybe we can expand the boundaries over a period of time. But what is it that we can do within that? I think still there is a lot of scope. That's what I feel. And, we have to kind of persist with it. That is the only way, right? Maybe when I am looking at some work on my startups, I can share some of my thoughts about it. But the only way is that you just keep persistent, keep on hitting at it, and then slowly things will give way.
So any starting point for this, we should do this first and then we can upgrade to the industries. Any starting point, how can we show them starting? What should we do for starting?
See, first of all, I think we have to be a little bit, develop some kind of networking with the industry. I think that's the first starting point, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we cannot assume that we are in a high pedestal and then we are saying something and the industry should listen to us. That does not come overnight. It takes a lot of time, right? So before the industry considers academia to be on the high pedestal, they'll have to kind of understand what we are trying to do. They'll have to come and talk to us, right? I think that is very important, right? We have to first find a way where we can start interacting with the industry. I think all of us are in some way or the other interacting with the industry, right? For example, I think in this college, the most frequent industry that's actually happening is in terms of industry visits or industry internships, recruitment, and all of these things, right? I'll tell you another incident. I'll just complete that. Okay. I'll tell you another incident. So I used to have my internship. Right? I did my internship in a place called ICI, Imperial Chemical Industries. That company is no longer existing today. Right? It used to be a paints company, and they didn't move with the times, and then today they are no longer existing. Right? So my guide was my mentor it was from the same college, several years my senior, the same college, same college. So any assignment, he will tell me, look at all this, they're all students from, not very popular colleges. See the output that they're given, and then what the output that you have given. They are able to give much better output. You are from supposed to be a good college. You are not giving good output. Right? Always used to go that, to give better. So I'll take an example. Let's say, for example, we are going to industry internship, right? If we can somehow engage our students that they give something back in return to the industries that they are visiting as a part of the industry tours or something like that, right? It can be a great report. Right? So they get a good impression. Oh, these people came and now they are submitting a report which looks very good. See, many people may not even read the report. Okay, I mean, it's fact, right? But if you give a report that at the first instance captures their attention, oh, this looks good. Good cover, good packaging, good printout. Then okay, these people are serious, okay? They came here and then they came out with the report, and the report today that looks very good. They may not even read it, but they'll certainly see this report. This guy came and then they gave a good report. So that builds certain kind of respect, right? So next time when we go and ask, these people are serious, let them give more attention, right? So slowly things start, developing. That I think was possibly because what is the resource that we have today? The resource that we have today is our students, right? We have lots of them, right? Can we use those resources to build that industry connect? Today, I think things have become a lot more easier, right? Writing a report is, no longer that difficult. Right? We can use many of these LLM-based engines, right, to write fantastic. I mean, we cannot speak one word of English, but the reports will be great. Right? Why? Because they have used this ChatGPT and LLMs and all of that. I don't know how much of you are familiar. This has become so much, people are starting to use it. Have you all related to it? Yeah? Everybody is now starting to use. So in I kind of run a startup, right? I know for well that under normal circumstances, the ability to communicate is not great, right? I mean, it's okay, but nothing great. But when they come and give their resignation letters, right, it will be so great. I mean, just look at the resignation letter, you feel that as if they're really, like the job that they've been doing and all that. I was surprised. And then after some time, the second person gives, the letter more or less remains the same. Thus the name is changed. Then I realized, oh, these guys are using ChatGPT to type in their resignation letters. So today it has become a very valuable tool to generate good content. I mean, we give him the inputs, we give him the prompts, and good content. So students who had difficulty in expressing themselves in English, today they can use these kind of external tools to write good output, right? So we can use these kind of techniques to, first of all, get attention, right? Before we get respect, I think we get attention. If we can start getting attention, if people are willing to listen to what we are trying to say, then we can tell them that, okay, these are some of the new things that you should consider. Then comes respect, right? So first thing is to see how we can get attention of the industry through various things that we can do. Small things, coming out with a good report, right? Or things like when we are going and being part of the internship, right? Being very well prepared, okay? When I say very well prepared, to know about the company, what is the turnover, what is their, what are the profit, everything. So the moment somebody gets a feeling that this guy is prepared, they are getting a very positive opinion. I don't know how many of you felt it. I mean, personally, we all feel it, right? When somebody is prepared about you before the actual meeting, that's really prepared. I'll tell you another example, right? Just a couple of days back, we were having a lunch meeting at IIT Madras, and then I was meeting I had a guest, and my guest wanted to invite another friend of his. He's a very senior person, retired, distinguished professor of IIT Madras. His name is Professor Bhaskar from the physics department. And he was, I don't know, many of you might have heard about C.N.R. Rao. Heard about C.N.R. Rao? C.N.R. Rao? Okay. So C.N.R. Rao is one of the most distinguished scientists in the country, and at one point in time, he was considered to be a potential candidate for a Nobel Prize, right? So Bhaskaran is of the similar caliber, like C.N.R. Rao, considered to be a potential caliber. So the person whom I was guessing, Mr. Subbayan, right, he had invited Professor Bhaskaran to join us for lunch. Subbayan said, I am lunching with, I'm meeting Tilarajan, I'm having lunch with him, and then can you also join? Bhaskaran said, yes, he'll join. I have not met Bhaskaran before. I had not even heard the name Bhaskaran before. It was physics again. We are from management, and so we come for lunch, and then so Bhaskaran asked me, right, okay, between 18 and 94, when you were in college, I had a friend there. I was completely taken aback, right? He had not met me, he had not even heard my name before. But when Subbayan told me that, he's having lunch with me, and then, in that 1 hour of time, he's completely researched my background. I'm such a, in IIT Madras, he's a very distinguished professor, I'm just a normal faculty. He's researched about me, and then he comes and asks me, okay, in this particular year you were in this institute, I had my friend there. I was completely taken aback, right? He had no reason to. He is very well decorated person, very well distinguished person. I told him, sir, I'm humbled that you can take the trouble of. And the person who was accompanying me, Subbayan, whom I was guesting, he is 80 or something, 84 or something like that. He also said, sir, I also did not expect that you will do this. I just accidentally told the name. Right? But imagine the impression that he's been able to create. Right? I will never forget Professor Bhaskaran. Right? Because of the homework that he has done. Right? So similarly, if our students are able to create that impact, so when they go, they should never forget, oh, these students have come from this institute, and then. So those things I think matter a lot. I don't know whether I've answered your question directly, but then, yeah. And most things doesn't come automatically. I also realize that those things so obvious. Right? All these things so obvious. Why aren't students doing it? Students don't do it because they are students. So as faculty members, we have to tell them, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, be prepared, do all this, right? Then I think they will start doing it. I was also under the impression that, okay, don't tell students anything, let them do it. They don't do it. They don't care but, whom they are meeting and all that. Right? They don't have that maybe the maturity to do all that. But I think if you tell them, they will do. Sorry, I think you had a question. Yeah.
One question from my side, sir. What are the effective models for co-creating curriculum with the industry stakeholders, sir?
What are the?
What are the effective models for co-creating curriculum with industry stakeholders, sir?
Industry stakeholders, okay. Okay, let me also how many of you have invited guest lectures from the industry in your courses? Anybody has invited guest lectures? Yeah. Yeah, general lectures invited, right? Let us be very frank, right, about what we are talking. What is your overall, I'm talking about overall, I'm not talking about any specific person. What is your overall experience with industry speakers? Yes. You are going to answer this question? Yes. Okay. I'm talking about your overall experience with industry speakers when they come to the class or when they come and take a session. Overall experiences.
So what I feel is that they give too practical insights and probably students at this point in time are unable to gauge exactly and they're probably not able to, imagine how really the industry works. So there is a mismatch of what they're delivering and probably what students are able to grasp.
Okay. Anybody else would like to add?
I wanted to ask something in connection with this. We have observed that sometimes the students are performing absolutely well in terms of academics. But when it comes to joining an industry, they hardly remain there for probably a week or 15 days or a month and so on. And then they leave the industry. So, I mean, they are not able to cope up with the environment that they are working into that particular industry. So what is going to be what should be the role of academician to make them acquainted with such kind of environment?
Okay, so I will come back to that question a little later, but I'm just going to go around a little bit and then ask, what has been your experience with industry speakers when you invite them? Yes.
They are more result-oriented and they talk less about the protocols or the way. They
Okay.
are more focused about the result part and how they can achieve that.
Okay.
So they have also spoken about the industry academia gaps.
Okay.
Nowadays, as students, they come for interviewing the students, and the answers they get are not exactly what they were expecting. And they want us to update in every way the curriculum and everything. And they identify the gap which we can bridge, actually, between the industry and the academia.
Okay. Yeah, I think there is one more.
In some of the industry sessions, industry guest sessions, I have experienced that the answers or the discussion is too generic. If we are focused on finding something which is very core to the course or the subject in which this industry guest has been invited, those answers we generally do not find. So they don't generally share the exact desired inputs from the industry. So that we fulfill some needs of the course. We connect the students with the industry.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yeah.
What usually happens is when we have industry guests coming in and they deliver a lecture, probably they tell us in terms of skills, talents and qualifications what they require and how actually the industry works. Students at that point in time probably connect to them, but later on the learnings are forgotten very soon. So when actually they come for an interview for the second round, probably students are as blank as they have no idea about what's going on. So probably the retention of what the industry inputs is way too less than what we expect.
Okay.
Most of the time, as sir said, most of the time all said to students, this is required. But how this requirement can be fulfilled, no one is telling them. And that is the main thing, the gap between the industry and academia. Students don't know how to develop the skills which industry required, and that is the main problem.
Oh, yes, sir, there is one more.
I have a different perspective. I might be
shooting on my foot. Uh, I mean, we don't have visionary industries. I mean, see, we have world richest industrialists in India. What exactly they are doing? They are making largest shipyards, largest malls. But and at the same time, we have institute like IITs, world top class IITs. But the thing is that why we are not making Elon Musk or people like that in India? So somewhere the mindset of industry is not what actually it has to be. And then the whole the thought process is not up to what exactly has to be. And then if industry is giving inputs to academia, that input is not relevant. That is my observation.
Okay, let me kind of share my thoughts. Then I will possibly also get your feedback. So when you're talking about industry, I'm not talking about, let's say, the top leaders like Narayan Murthy or the heads of, they are of different caliber. We don't get them every other day. Normally what we possibly get speakers from the senior management, vice presidents, senior vice presidents, and that kind of level is what we get speakers from, right? Normally, for general lectures. So generally impression is that they are boring. No, I'm not joking. Most industry speakers, they lack the connect with the students, right? Which as faculty members we can easily establish, right? See, for driving the message across, it's important that we are having that connect or engagement, right? Industries, people, they don't have that. They don't know how to tell a story properly. They don't know how to connect with the students properly. They don't know how to introduce, okay, in a class of, 1 hour, how much of humor should I introduce? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes? They don't know that. They don't know when to time that also. They don't know how to keep the audience awake. They are not exposed to that kind, right? So whatever they say sometimes falls flat. They come and open a PPT, and then they start going through PPT. Whatever their content might be very important, but the way in which they deliver it might not be effective, right? So that's been my. I've got some very decorated speakers, right? Very decorated, very senior people. They'll come and talk excellently between one-on-one. But you put them in front of a class, suddenly they become very boring. So that is something that we all have to live with. I mean, we can get people from the industry to come and speak, but will they be able to substitute a regular course teacher? I don't think so. What is our strength? Our strength is to be able to have that connect. Our strength is to be able to deliver something to the students and the message will go across, which maybe the industry may not be able to. So therefore, to answer your question, if you leave a course completely to a visiting faculty, to a member from the industry, sometimes it becomes very difficult. Students are not satisfied. There are several courses where the industry members have taken the complete course and the feedback has been horrible from the students, right? He's not teaching well. Very senior person, he knows the subject. In person, he can give a lot of insights, but in the class, I think he may not be very effective. Okay. So therefore, I think team teaching might be very helpful, right? A team teaching where the faculty member is there, and then we also have the industry member to maybe give some expert comments here and there, right? So I did once a case study. And this obviously, I'm trying to kind of borrow it from somewhere. In a case study, we all did a case study. The case study was Bangalore International Airport, right? We did a case study on Bangalore International Airport. And the case study was written by me. So whenever we write a case study, we can teach that case very confidently, rather than we borrow of a case study written by others. So I teach a case study and I wrote that case study. And in that class, what happened is I had invited the, the vice chairman of L&T, who was actually responsible for developing and constructing the Bangalore International Airport at that point in time. So the class did not know he was there. Oh, the class was discussing, this Bangalore International Airport, he did that wrong, this should not have been done properly, that should not have been done properly, all these things have actually happened. Then almost towards the end of the class, I told the class, thank you for all your inputs. Now, we have the same person among us whom we all talked about. The class was surprised. Right? Everybody started, oh, I should not have said that. And the next 15 minutes, he actually held the attention of the class and told them that, okay, I heard all your views. Then I had to tell you why we did certain things, what are the constraints under which you operated, why we did certain things which you are saying that should not have been done. Right? Then they got the message a lot more, right? Because it's coming, as they say, from the horse's mouth. But it has to be delivered in a way that it created that impact. So my own inputs in terms of how we co-opt industry is that maybe about 25% of the engagement can be teamed up with the faculty members. But then in terms of delivery, I think the faculty possibly is better equipped to deliver what we are trying to do. I don't know whether that answers your question. Even the industry people are more comfortable when the faculty is also part of it because they know that there is somebody is there, right? There's a safety net for them. Right? So all of these actually trying to develop that network, right? Slowly when we start developing that network, then we start getting the attention of the industry, right? So somebody whom we have developed a network over a period of time, let's say he becomes the CEO of the company, then immediately he starts looking at, okay, can you advise me in terms of what to do? Right? So that's how I think the connection and the collaboration grows over a period of time.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I'm just adding this something on your perspectives. First of all, I totally agree with your two statements that students wants to be a stand-up comedian during the classes, 60% comedian, 40% education. So I am totally agree on that because people like that. Second thing is that the rate of aggression in academics as well rate of aggression in technology or advancement in academics and the industries, the rate is totally different. Industry is growing very fast, but academia is growing very slow. We are adopting the new technology very with less pace. So first of all, if I connect it with the product development, so there is a process that voice of customer, it goes to voice of engineering, and then it goes to the features. So if we develop a product, if we want to develop a product, we first of all we went to customers, we listen their voice of customer, then as an engineer we convert it into the features and we got the features of product. So in these case, what we feeling, the gap between academics and the industry is that we don't have the voice of engineer right now. Because customer is saying that what they want exactly, but there is, the linking is not there to make the competent both of them. So there is a elimination of right now voice of engineers, which can convert the voice of customer into the features in the academics.
I think you are giving an example, isn't it? You are trying to create a situation, right? Yeah. Okay. No, I completely understand. See, what is very unique about academic is that who is our regulator? We are our own regulators, isn't it? In some sense, isn't it? Right? So in a corporate, somebody is going to tell, okay, you do this. In academia, nobody tells us. I mean, as a faculty member, we take the onus of doing things. Okay. If there is any change that needs to be done, then we try and do it. Nobody is going to tell us how much to do it. I'll tell you my principle, right? Again, it's something that I kind of listen to it somewhere and then do it. Right? So every year I teach a course. I may be teaching the same course, right? I teach, for example, management for the MBA first year. How many of you teaching MBA? Yeah. Okay, most of you. So I teach financial management for the MBA first year, right? So my own target is that every year there has to be 15 to 20% new thing in the course as compared to what was the previous year. Okay. Nobody tells me that I have to do this. As faculty members, we decide that this is good, right? Having every year some new content is good for the course. So we do it, right? So that I think is what is, so he talked about engineering translates the customer's requirements and then puts it into product. Who is engineers here? We are all engineers, right? So we have to understand what's actually happening and then try and implement it for the students, right? One simple things that I actually do in the course is that I ask the students to buy Economic Times, and buy a newspaper. And I say Economic Times because Economic Times is the largest selling business daily. And I use the newspaper as an example to teach the day's concepts. Right? That day's newspaper. Sometimes the class is at 8 o'clock in the morning. So when I have to tell them that I have to teach that day's newspaper, then first of all, what should I do? I should read the newspaper. Right? Before entering class, I should be reading the newspaper. I should have it in my mind. These are the examples that I am going to use for that particular class. So if it's an 8 o'clock class, I read the newspaper at 6:30 in the morning. So this is something I force myself to. Nobody tells me. Nobody tells me you have to buy the newspaper, you have to read it at this particular time. So that I think is a flexibility, is a responsibility I should say as faculty members we all have. How we can give the best of the inputs, right? So there is theory, but how is the theory being applied? Students don't consider what happened 10 years ago. What is happening today? I think that's what they're all bothered about, right? See, if I tell in the newspaper, okay, take this newspaper page number 5, see this article, this is what we are talking about. Then they start. So you can see the impact. Initially there is resistance. Students say, okay, should I buy physical paper or should I see it online? Then I tell them, okay, fine. You want rupee like in cash, or if somebody gives you online also, it's okay. Then say, no, okay. Rupee is actually tangible, so I need it, right? Then they'll ask, should everybody buy or can I share? Then I told them, will you share your salary with others? They said, oh, no, I will have to keep my own salary. After a lot of, students don't buy, there's resistance, right, to buy, because nobody tells them to buy. Then after a lot of resistance, after 2 weeks, they'll say, okay, fine. They said, okay, fine, let's kind of go ahead and buy it, right? That's better than, buy it. Right? So initially what happens is the newspaper will be there, they'll keep starting to talk before they enter the class. Right? But by the end of this course, I see the students reading the newspaper when I come to the class. Right? Which was not there at the beginning of the course. That's a very visible change in their behavior or attitude. Right? They get so used to going through the examples, they start kind of pulling into that, they got pulled into this, then they start reading the paper on their own. So when I come in the class, when there is during the class breaks, they'll read the newspaper. So these kinds of things, right? He's kind of not there. So this is what actually, how we really look at inputs from the outside, and we as faculty members can modify whatever we are trying to do and change it. Many times I have students who repeat the course for better grades and whatever, right? The previous year they would have taken the course, possibly got a lower grade, they want to repeat the course. And then they come back and tell me, oh, last year and this year, there is no similarity in what we are teaching. The case studies, for example, the case studies in the previous years would have been handled differently. And they'll come with the same, said, okay, this case study was done like this in the last year. This year also be done like this. No, this year will be handled differently. So I think that is important for us to be able to capture the attention of the students.
Sir, good morning, sir. As you told that students want us to be stand-up comedian. So
no, I just said it as a matter of fact because I think they want, because we are competing against whom? That's what people say. We are competing against whom today?
Should we try to become that in the class? Or is it good?
See, everybody has a style, okay? Right? So Amitabh Bachchan was never a comedian. No, he made a little bit of comedy, but then he had his style, right? What I meant to say was, do we have something that captures the attention of the students, right? Today, I think stand-up comedian becomes a little bit more easier, right, to get the attention. Who doesn't like humor, you please tell me? Everyone likes humor, right? Everyone likes to laugh, right? But that is not an easy skill, right, to be able to make a class laugh spontaneously, right? It happens over a period of time. I mean, I'll tell you, frankly, today I'm a little better, but when I joined 18 years ago, I mean, I had absolutely no clue. My classes were very boring. But maybe because I was able to deliver things differently, I got a good feedback. But today, if I follow the same style, I will not get good feedback. So 10%, 10-15%, the spontaneous humor is needed. And when I say spontaneous, we have to be prepared to be spontaneous. Right? So many small things we can do. Right? How do you make the classroom entertaining? That is my feeling. I don't know, you might have different thoughts actually. Right? Many of you might have tried your own experiments in terms of how you can. But I think for some reason, humor works best. How we are able to create that is I don't know. It's difficult. Sorry? Yeah. I possibly did not get your question well. Yeah, there are different routes, of course. There are different ways in which you can do it. I am saying the most simplest of the things is afternoon 2 o'clock class, and guys have just come from lunch. So difficult, right? So difficult for the speaker, so difficult for the class. Something we have to, I think it's important.
Sir, I mean, what you said, I mean, this is true because sometimes when I teach design thinking and I feel that students are getting bored, I deliberately do some kind like movement of my head or something because my thought is that after going out of the class, maybe they are going to imitate me. Sir ने ऐसा किया था, है ना? वो design thinking ऐसे करके पढ़ा रहे थे. I mean, my thought is कि in that way they are going to revise the thing. I mean, we have to do that kind of acts sometimes in the class. This is what I do. I mean, it may look funny or idiotic, but I do this thing.
Especially in afternoon classes, that I can get their attention. Then they remember the model taught in the way of my hand movements which I did. So this is what we do usually.
Oh, very nice. I think all of us have our own ways of. Now, what is most discouraging for us? I think we all agree, right? Fact, what is most discouraging for us is that we are really spending a lot of time and that fellow is sitting and sleeping in front of us, right? I mean, that's it's a physiology, right? I mean, he also can't help it. It's not that he's willingly sleeping, but the body rhythm is such that, they tend to doze off, right? That's a very disappointing thing. What is it we are trying to do? And then that guy is just dozing off like this, right? So I use an interesting technique, right? First class, I tell a technique. I tell them that there is a collection box I'm going to have, okay? And whoever I I catch dosing, they'll have to put some monetary contribution in the collection box. Whatever the smallest amount that you have at that point in time, you just put it in the collection box. Nobody sleeps. And I call one or two people to put money in the collection box. After that, nobody sleeps. Money, I think, plays a very prominent role in keeping them awake. Right? So this is a technique. I'm not saying that I'm collecting money just to kind of penalize them, but it's some way to kind of make them awake. Yeah, I'm just thinking, should we actually take a small break? Because I'll just wait for Dr. Pallavi to.
Okay. Sir, I wanted to ask something related to research journey. Like, as a researcher, I have received 2 advices. One is about our field, to research in our field and go on with that. And one is about to take a trending topic to get more number of publications, which is important for our growth. So which one is okay? Means according to your perspective, which should a person go after? Means research in their particular own field or research in various different fields which are trending to get more number of publications?
So very interesting question. So it also depends on what is the objective that we are trying to do. Okay. So many times there is some kind of a pressure in terms of achieving tenure, achieving promotions, right? In which case, number of publications matter. Okay. I mean, we can continue to debate whether it's the right thing and all that, but ultimately, to be able to reach that level, they look at number of publications, and it's well specified. Okay, you have 10 publications, you can go to professor level and all of that, right? I think in which case it will be more wiser just to play the game. Okay, I mean, okay, I'm aspiring to be a professor. Requirement is 10 publications, so let me go ahead and do this 10 publications and then decide about what I want to do later. Okay. The second aspect is that we're talking about peer respect, right? So peer respect will come if you are able to kind of be more current in whatever we are doing. Right? So that means looking at the current areas of research, looking at publishing that breaks new ground, not topics that may be very important today because it's like very old and nobody, it's not very interesting and all of that. Right? That doesn't give much peer respect. Right? Peer respect comes in terms of, are we doing something very new? Are we breaking new ground in terms of research? Right? But when you try and look at new research, publications might take longer. Right? Because it's a new idea, you'll have to kind of get it vetted, the review process may take longer, and so on and so forth. Right? So we have to really decide which one. If the quicker thing is to see, let me kind of achieve my promotion and then I will see everything else, then better publish in those areas which can give you quicker publications. That may not give you satisfaction, that may not give you a lot of peer respect, but then at least you achieve your objective of meeting the target. Right? So it's multiple things. In the research, what is the biggest challenge in research today? I mean, we all, AI is one, but then the biggest challenge for us to do research is to be able to get funding for research, right? First thing is to apply to various agencies that will give funding. And then what happens is, right, then you have to play the tunes of the funding agency. Because without money, we cannot do anything. You have to hire a few people, you have to buy some software, you have to buy a lab, computer, and all this thing, you need money. And for that, we can only write proposals for which funding is available. Sometimes funding might be available for new areas, funding may not be available for older areas. So we think that, okay, I have a great expert, there's no funding, what will we do? We will not be able to do good research, right? So we will have to quickly. So it's very important that we keep changing our research focus areas to be more current. Why? Because funding is available. I'll give you one practical example. I used to have 2 sets of research. I used to do one work on public-private participation, infrastructure, and all of that is one area of research. And then I also do work on corporate finance, startups, and all of that. Till about 2015 or even about 2018, there's a lot of grants available for researching about public-private participation and all of that, right? So we used to write to those grants and then get money for doing research. But after that, it just dried up. Today, if I want to continue to remain, okay, I want to do research in infrastructure, public-private participation in those areas, there is no funding available. So without funding, it is really difficult to do research. Right? You have to hire a teaching assistant, you need money to pay salaries. Right? You need to buy a computer, it's not possible. Right? So whether we like it or not, I think we have to keep changing our research areas to be in line with the current trends. I think that's important. That's what I was suggesting, Kelvin. Okay. So we'll take a break and then we will.
Welcome back, everyone. So now let us continue with the interesting session of Dr. A. Thillai Rajan sir on the topic Building Industry Academia Partnership.
Okay. So should we begin? Okay. So industry collaboration, so we will again touch upon briefly about it, given the context, based on my understanding, the context in which we all operate. And then I will talk about some of my own experiences in terms of industry collaboration, and then show you some of the work that I am doing in the area of startups. Again, a little bit of sharing of experiences, and then we will finish. I think we have maybe about 40 minutes for us to handle this, right? Okay, so today if you really look at it, which part of economic activity is India's largest? I mean, if you can really look at it. So we have the public sector, then we have the large industry, and then we have the SMEs, and then we have the startups, right? If we broadly look at the different categories of industry, the economic activity. So we can try and create a collaboration within each of these sectors. Okay. So let me kind of take in a very practical scenario. So if you are talking about large industries, right, they have a lot of money, right? They have a lot of money, and then they possibly want to kind of collaborate with those universities which actually are more popular, which actually have deep pockets, right? All that. Now, sometimes it's so disheartening that many of the foreign universities will have direct access, even at the Prime Minister level. From here, we cannot even aspire to get this kind of access. Because they have very powerful alumni network or powerful connections. What can we do about it? We cannot do anything about it, right? For example, I'll tell you, Stanford University or MIT, Harvard, they have direct connections with the highest levels in the government, highest levels in the industry, which might be very difficult for us to get that kind of access. And why that is there, we can possibly talk about it for a lot of time, but let's kind of not get into that for the time being. But to really look at collaboration, we talk about multiple sectors, right? We can actually look at multiple opportunities are there for collaboration, right? If you are not able to get the top level, there are significant opportunities at the SME level, right? Because SME is one of the most vibrant and the fast growing sectors in the Indian economy. Today, they are like an orphan, right? Nobody wants to work with an SME. Top institutes, they think that SMEs don't have money to pay, and the challenges that they are offering is not interesting enough for whatever reason, right? So there is a great opportunity to be able to work with the SME industry, because they need help. They are all aspiring to become the next set of industry leaders. And today, they don't have the bandwidth to be able to find out what direction they should go. So they are looking for inputs from academia. They're looking for thought leaders to be able to tell them which direction should they go. So if you keep knocking on industries that are big and they're not opening the doors, my suggestion is to actually check, okay, can we actually look at knocking on the doors of industries that will open the door for us? And SMEs are one set of possibilities that we can consider, right? And I think this area particularly, there are a lot of these SMEs are there, I'm told, right? A lot of manufacturing around that, right? So that's a great opportunity to be able to see if we can tap. So let's not talk only about Hindustan Lever, let's not talk only about Adani, let's not talk only about reliance as far as industry collaboration is concerned. Let's talk about industry collaborations at maybe at different levels as well. Second is most of the industry projects, they just come by a chance, right? And this personal connection is what I think plays a very important role. I'll give you an example of my first industry project. When I say industry project, first project, okay? So I was working in the industry before, and I quit the industry and joined academia. And before I joined academia, I went on a leadership program. Right? I went on a leadership program to the UK. And in that leadership program, there were 11 other participants. There were total 12 participants. There were 11 other participants in the program. And each of them are from different fields. Half the batch was consisting of IAS from the Indian Administrative Service, right? They're all looking at different areas. And one of the participants who participated was a commissioner of Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. Okay. So in that program, because we were together as a batch, we got to know him well, and we became good friends. Right? I never knew him before the program. It just happens that he was participating in the program, and I was also there, and then we became friends. And then we all finished the program, and then he went back to his parent cadre, and I joined IIT Madras. And once he called me up and then said, okay, there is a project that we want to do, Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, which is to look at the financial modeling of the Hyderabad Outer Ring Road project. So can you help? And why did he call me? Did I have any expertise? No, I just joined academia. I did not have any expertise. Why did he call me? Because he knew me. That's it. Right? He knew me. He was comfortable that we may be able to work on this project. That was pure chance, right? Pure chance that we both were participating, we were batchmates in that program. And at that point in time, we are talking about 2006, right? So that project was worth about, I think 30-40 lakhs. And today, he is the industry secretary in the Telangana government. Right? So as he moved roles to roles, we are giving projects. Right? So there was no any special capability that I had that he tested it out and then started giving projects. No, just that personal connection is what matters if you are getting at industry collaboration. So how quickly we can develop that personal connections, I think it's what matters. So that means what? As faculty members, we have to do extensive networking. Right? We have to invest time in networking. If there is an indoor club, for example, right, become member of the indoor club. And if people from industries are coming there, try and network with them. Play golf. I'm just giving an example, right? So investing in networking is very, very important if you want to have collaboration. Because they are looking for people whom they are comfortable working with. They will go to great lengths. They don't mind paying. They don't mind fitting in people from long distance, but they just want to know people that they are comfortable. So industry collaboration means networking is so critical. Right? Networking is extremely important. So can we go ahead and invest? Say for example, let's have our own target. Every month, I will attend one networking event. Okay, get to know people. If you can have the target, then maybe over a period of time, we will have a strong network. So yesterday, I was traveling here. But yesterday for an evening, I had an invitation to attend a fashion parade in Chennai. Okay. Remember an academic getting an event for fashion parade? Right? I mean, it's not a place where we will be comfortable, right? I mean, I'm not comfortable. It's a very high society, but I'm not comfortable, right? But if networking has to be done, then I have to go to those kinds of places, right? Show my presence once in a while and maybe find out new contacts. Extremely critical. Right? So that would be my first suggestion, right? I mean, I've said a couple of suggestions earlier. This is my first suggestion in terms of, as faculty members, we have to start networking. We cannot remain in an ivory tower and then say that, okay, I am doing this work. We will have to reach out to people. We have to tell them that, okay, what are the work that we are doing? And this can happen only when we start networking. The second point in terms of collaboration is, sometimes we will have to possibly understand their constraints and work along with them. What are the constraints for the industry? The main constraint for the industry usually is urgency. Oh, they want everything today, right? Oh, we want the commission, I want it now. Can you do it now? Right? So we will have so many other things, right? We possibly cannot stop it because most of the time our calendars are planned well in advance, right? We have semester exam. The semester exam is known 5 months in advance. We cannot do anything much about it, right? But industry works in a very different calendar. For me, today, tomorrow. So can we in some sense be more accommodative of their requirements? Right? Another example, we are doing a project for Exim Bank. Right? Many of you might be aware of Exim Bank, right? Exim Bank. So Exim Bank is India's bank for export and import. So the first time I went to Exim Bank, the person whom I was meeting, I had earlier connected with him when he was on deputation in a previous organization called NAPFID, right? National Bank for Infrastructure Development and so on, right? He was on deputation. Then I went to NAPFID for a meeting, I met him there, and then after that he got transferred to Exim Bank. Then I knew that he would move to Exim Bank, then I fixed up appointment with him and then went and met him. He said, Bombay, right? Okay, what time can I come? Come at 8:30 p.m. in my office. Right? Bombay, 8:30 p.m. He said, that's when we'll be relatively free. Okay. Okay, 8:30 p.m. Then we met for maybe an hour. And then we understood that, okay, he is also from Chennai, and then, both he and, my wife studied in the same college, though they did not know each other. I connected, right? And then we discussed about common friends and all of that. So after 2 months, again called me up and said, no, we have this project to do. And not after 2 months. Immediately the next day he said, no, we have this. Next day, I was in the airport coming to Chennai. He calls me and said, no, immediately, we have this project to do. Can you submit a proposal? We need the proposal in 3 days' time. Okay. So what to do? Because we had kind of got to each other, okay, we'll submit it in 3 days' time. We submitted it in 3 days' time. And, then he said that, no, you've submitted about 5 months duration. We have to do it in 3 months. Can you please do it? Revise the proposal and submit in 3 months. And then, so within 2 days, the proposal got approved. And then, we started doing the project. So how did it happen? Because I followed him up. I knew that he had moved and then got to Exim Bank, and Exim Bank is some place where we can do some work together, because some of the work that we are doing had some common areas. I did not mind him meeting him at 8:30 in the night. I went and met him, and then the project came. So following up, just following up. And last year we did the project, this year the same person called, no, this year also we wanted to do the project, right? Second project had come. He referred to another person in a different division within Exim Bank. Third project. So all of this happens because we were accommodative. He wanted a proposal in 3 days' time. He wanted to do the project in 3 months' time. He wanted the project in a specific budget. So please use this budget. This is the only budget we have for this year. Can you please do this project? We're cutting it too fine, right? So we did. So this year when we quoted at the original cost, which is 50% higher than what was last year. He said, okay, fine, no problem. But had we not been able to be responsive enough, had not been accommodative enough for the first project, we may not have got the subsequent projects. Right? Being accommodative to the industry is very important. And third, industry's requirements might be very different, and our requirements might be very. What does the industry needs? Industry needs what is called as CHAPA, stamp. This report is done by IIT Madras. This report is done by some institute. They need that. What do we need as academia? What do we need? We need data for research, right? If you are able to get data from these kinds of engagements, if you can need some connections, right, from these kind of engagement, then it's helpful. We don't want to kind of say that, okay, we'll give you the CHAPA. No, our job is to see, okay, we need data, but if that job requires doing this engagement, then we'll go ahead and do it. Right? So understanding their requirements, understanding their expectations, and ensuring that we both are able to kind of, mutually meet the objectives, then I think it will work very well. So it's a very, very careful process that it actually happens a period of time. And many times it takes a lot of time, right? It takes a lot of time to build that credibility. How we are able to sustain knocking, right? Doors will not open, they will not listen, they will not answer the calls, emails will not be answered, right? But we just have to persist with it. There's another organization called SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India, right? Because they are working with small industries, we are working with startups, so there's a lot of synergies. We think that, okay, there should be automatic synergy. We thought that, why don't they engage with us on various projects? Karenge, we'll engage. Every time when I go to Delhi, I will go to the office and then meet that person and then come back. Nothing productive. Every time I go to Delhi, meet him and then, hi, hello, have tea, and then we'll come back. 3 years, 4 years, then suddenly they said, no, I think we can work on a project. Okay? And then we worked on a project and then we gave a report, very happy. And then they said, okay, you've done a lot of work on the startup platform. We want to subscribe to the startup platform. Right? I've been telling them to subscribe for 4 years. No, we'll come back. Then suddenly they realize that they need to subscribe to this. And the entire transaction, the paperwork, they're all able to do in 2-3 weeks, which is very fast for a government organization, right? But these 3 weeks were preceded by almost 4 years of non-stop knocking. So do we have the tenacity? That's very important. To keep on knocking, we have to be very shameless, right? See, we are all used to a certain thing in the class, right? Students respect, we kind of, a very different thing, but in industry it requires very, very different. So these were critical for me to be able to get industry projects. So I was kind of doing some counting. I'm not saying for the sake of boasting or something. Recently I had to prepare my CV to apply for one of the grant. So we're kind of looking at what all we have done in industry projects, right? And how much of funding that we have got, right? In my group, right? So in the last about 10 to 15 years, right? We've done close to about 60 projects, various industry projects, worth about 13 crores. So for in a business school, which doesn't involve any equipment purchase, if a science school, it's okay, right? You buy a big microscope, it'll be 2-3 crores, right? For a business school, which only involves manpower, computation, computers, and hiring and all that, that's a lot of money in terms of projects. So how did we do that? So we did it because you asked a question, right? How is it important? So I realized at the beginning of my career that industry project is important because I came from the industry. Industry project is important because when I go to the class, it gives me a lot of credibility. Because I was inspired by some of my teachers at IIM Bangalore who had continuous engagement in industry. When they came to the class, students just liked it because they were able to bring in a perspective, a real world perspective, integrated with theory and give it in the class. So I wanted to be something like that. So that means I have to continue my industry projects, my industry engagement. And I think looking back, it is a very, very fruitful effort, right? And we also need to see which projects to avoid and which projects to take up. See, sometimes what happens is the industry might want to get a project done, but it might not align with our area of expertise. Okay? It will be too far away, right? So one is we can take all these projects and then do it, but then we also have very limited time, we also have very limited energy. So how much can we kind of spread thin, right? Can we kind of focus our activity to a few areas so that we are known, we are becoming recognized for particular areas. So that's also very important. Okay? So we should also learn to say no to those projects which don't really fall in our area of expertise. Okay? That's again a very important aspect. So I'll again take a pause here and then see if you have any questions. Yes. What?
What incentives should institute offer to industry partners for collaboration?
The institute does not offer any incentive because as academic institute we have something valuable to offer to the industry partners, so that's why they come. What incentive should the faculty get? I think that's very clear, right? So usually there is a financial incentive, right? For example, there's a consultancy project, the consultancy fees goes to the faculty apart from certain sharing to the institute, right? For example, in IIT, after all the expenses, the faculty will have to share 20% to the institute, okay? So there is a financial incentive for the faculty to take these kinds of projects. And the institute also benefits from the financial, that they get out of these projects. So there's an alignment of incentives.
Thank you.
So sometimes, the financial incentives, can be very significant as well. But let's not really look at only the financial incentive, right? We can really look at the multiple benefits that can get from many of these projects. I think that's the way we should look at it. But without financial incentive, it may not be possible to devote the attention because we all kind of want to, right? We want to get maximum return for our investment, right? Any other questions? Yeah.
How we can strengthen the joint research and consultancy projects?
Joint research and consultancy.
Yes. How we can boost up these things?
So what do you mean by joint research and?
Means we can say collaboration, research work doing collaboration with some another university faculties or in industry collaboration.
So those are the things I was just mentioning, right? Essentially, how do you kind of do active networking? How do you be more accommodative of their requests and all that, right? Industry does not do research. They don't value research. They value outcomes of research. But then they're not very patient about, okay, waiting for the research to be completed and the outcomes to come. If you have something today, then they will take it up. But tell them, okay, can you fund this research project? The industry does not. Research is largely funded today by government, right? Various government agencies. And if you look at government agencies, state government very rarely funds research. It's only the central government that is funding research. Right? So the best way, for example, for new researchers to get to do that is, if the institute does not really have a very strong track record, right, then form collaboration with other institutes who have a good track record in getting this kind of research grants, right? So let's say, for example, you can find a principal investigator and then say that I can be the co-PI, I can be the co-principal investigator, and then start doing some projects jointly with institutes that have strong track record. And then gradually, once you have start experiencing, then you can start bidding for your projects. Because many of these things are very, very competitive. Right? I don't know how many of you are aware. Indian Council for Social Science Research is a central funding agency, right? And some of the projects related to management funding are supported by ICSSR, right? I think last time they received some call, they put up a call. I think there are some 50 or 100 awards, and then they got some 10,000 applications or something, very big number. What is the chance of success, right? 110,000 is better for project grants, right? They're extremely competitive. So the best way to get the attention is to join hands with people who have a strong track record of getting these kinds of projects, at least for the first 2 projects. Right? Because the funding agency will know, okay, fine, these people we have given awards in the past, let's kind of, call them for an interview or things like that.
Sir.
Sorry.
And how women in today's world relate to her and what are the transformations they can give to the society. So we did apply for that and we were called for the interview also. It was an online interview. We did not get through, but it was a great experience. And so the next time we apply for something like that, we would definitely try to collaborate with another institute who have got it probably.
So I'm not saying that it's needed, but sometimes it helps. It helps in the initial stages, right?
This was our first time, sir.
Okay.
For ICCSR.
In the initial stages, it will help.
Yes.
Do you think the internship program should be redesigned to promote innovation and entrepreneurship? And if yes, how can we do it?
See, frankly speaking, internship is very, very, we have a limited time, right? I mean, the students are there for maximum 2 months, and they are work in progress, right? I mean, we cannot expect great things from interns. And being students, they have multiple diversions. They obviously will not be able to, work hard as much as we expect them to do, and all that. So I think internship program has very, very limited value. Possibly they can take very specific engagement. For example, do a market research. So 2 months, they administer a survey, those kinds of projects the internship will be able to do. But then beyond that, I think, in my personal view, it becomes very difficult to work with interns. Then you ask second question about entrepreneurship. See, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I think that we have to be very clear. Okay? Maybe 5% of the population has an aptitude for entrepreneurship. And this is not true only for India, this is true on most all the campuses, even globally. Right? Even in the US, which is one of the most advanced economies in terms of entrepreneurship and investing in entrepreneurship and all that, not more than 5% of the students pursue entrepreneurship. Rest all of the people look for conventional employment in large companies, right? Because they get good salary, entrepreneurship is too risky and all of that. Right? But at the same time, today in most universities, entrepreneurship is focused upon. Right? There are compulsory courses. Okay? For example, if you look at IIM Bangalore, there are about 700 MBA students. Right? Everybody has to do a compulsory course on entrepreneurship. Okay? You know how many people get into entrepreneurship after IIM Bangalore? Zero. But entrepreneurship is a compulsory course. Nobody gets into entrepreneurship. Why? Because they are paying 20 lakhs as fees, and then the first job is to I need to get that 20 lakhs back. Right? Then talk about something else. But then why are people talking about entrepreneurship? Because entrepreneurship has relevance for everybody, right? Because today, it's not entrepreneurship that is being taught, it's talking about entrepreneurial, right? We want everybody to become entrepreneurial. Even big companies, they want their employees to be entrepreneurial. Right? And second, everybody, we kind of in some sense interact with entrepreneurs, right? We may not be entrepreneurs, but we all end up interacting with the entrepreneurial ecosystem, right? So if we want to effectively leverage the entrepreneurial ecosystem, then we have to understand what entrepreneurship is all about, right? So these are possible the reasons why the course on entrepreneurship is being offered. Right? Not just that they should become entrepreneurs, but how they can understand entrepreneurship and then benefit from the ecosystem. So on that context, I want to show you something. So I have been talking about the work that we have with startups, right? We've been doing with startups. So similarly, today startups is something that is turning out to be a very good segment of economy. Irrespective of whatever we are, we may not be an entrepreneur, but then each one of us in some way or the other, we are interacting with startups. We are interacting with the startup economy, right? So we created something called as So we have created something called as startups for all, right? So this is a keyword that we use, startups for all. That means you don't have to be a startup founder, you don't have to be an entrepreneur, right? But each one of us are interacting with startups on a daily basis, right? And startups can give something for everybody. Startups can become employment creators, startups can develop new products, startups can give a lot of opportunities for different people, right? Startups can provide innovative services, right? So startups is for all. When we get up in the morning, the first thing is we just possibly see our mobile phone, right? See some app, right? Many of these apps are developed by startups, right? So we are consumers of various startup products and services, right? So we said that everybody stands to benefit. Every citizen of this country will stand to benefit from startup ecosystem, from the startups, right? So how can we get startups mainstream, right? How can we get startups mainstream where everybody starts benefiting? So we created this particular portal where everybody can sign up and start using our platform on startups, right? So that they understand what are the different kind of startups, what they do, how they can benefit from various categories, right? What are the jobs that startups offer, and how they can apply for these jobs, right? Everything is available in one place, right? So the second thing that we did is, the Ministry of Education felt that education institutes in the country are playing a very important role in startup formation, okay? And that needs to be highlighted, Like today, if you really look at it, DST is saying that now they are doing a big thing in entrepreneurship. DBT is saying that Department of Biotechnology is saying that they are doing a big thing in entrepreneurship. Everybody is claiming that they are doing significant contribution in startup, but Ministry of Education, which is where most of the startups are emerging from, many of the education institutes where the startups are emerging from, so they feel that they have not been recognized. Nobody thinks about the Ministry of Education as an important organization in forming startups. So they said that, okay, can you develop a portal which highlights the role of education institution in startup formation, right? So we have developed this portal called One Innovation, right? So this is what we call as a dashboard of startups in all higher education institutions in the country, right? Right now we have mapped about 404 educational institutes in the country. We are trying to map all the institutes. Right? So this gives them a comprehensive perspective. Somebody who sees this will know that, okay, in these 400 colleges, there are about 21,000 startups are there. Right? These 400 colleges have contributed to the formation of 21,000 startups, right? And these 21,000 startups together have a valuation of close to 33 trillion. I mean, imagine the money, right? 33 trillion rupees. The startups that emerged from these institutes have created value of 33,000 trillion. I don't know how many of you can quickly say how many zeros are there in 1 trillion? Very big number, right? Till this number is shown, nobody understood the role of education institutes and how much they are doing, right? And these startups have resulted in formation of about 10,000 patents. So when we put all these things, and remember these also created about close to 8 lakh jobs. I mean 8 lakh jobs are a significant contribution to the economy. See, until we bring these things together, it's like kind of losing the forest by counting the trees, right? We need to see the big picture. Only if we see the big picture, the contribution is very overwhelming. So we put all these things together, right? We put all these things together using the data that we have connected over a period of time. And then we said that, okay, we need to give a name. So we gave a name called One Innovation, right? It's our own creation, right? And then Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, he's a Minister of Education, right? So he makes an announcement, okay, One Innovation has been created. So who created One Innovation? It emerged from an academic institute. And this actually happened after maybe 4 years of, we keep on shouting that we are doing this work in startups, we are kind of putting together a database and all those things, right? It did not come overnight. It took a lot of time for us to be able to create this. So when we do this, what happens is, so we're able to provide a ranking of all the institutes. Right? So this got the vice chancellors more. They woke up. Oh, I'm ranked number 5. I'm ranked number 6. Right? So I work in IIT Madras. So IIT Madras is number 1, right? When close doing naturally it's number 1. I did not do anything. Just the facts prove that it's number 1. Right? And second is IIM Bangalore. Then comes IIT Bombay. So now this is also very useful, right? Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to start a startup. Then you will know which institute to go to. Right? You will possibly go to an institute that possibly ranks at the top in this list because that possibly has the most effective ecosystem to support startups, right? IIM Ahmedabad is number 7, 8, IIT Delhi. And we also have startups, in which how many startups have been formed in different years and so on, right? Many times the institute did not know that the startup was associated with that particular. The director did not know. For example, Swiggy, one of the founders of IIT Madras, nobody knew that IIT Madras connection with Swiggy. You also know Swiggy? Yes. Swiggy. You are consuming Swiggy services, anybody? Yeah, very much, okay. They did not know IIT Madras is some way connected to Swiggy till we actually are able to put these things together. So this turned out to be a very useful database, right? So now obviously we can all do this at different levels, right? For example, let's say, can your institute do it something at the level of Madhya Pradesh or Indore, right? Ranking of all startups, I'm saying startups because I'm familiar, ranking of all startups in Indore, directory of startups in Indore. We have very large number of students. The students can help in collecting the data and then putting a platform like this. So more people will start referring to these kind of initiatives if we create a platform like this, right? So multiple ways in which we can get the attention. And once we put these things together, then the ministry sends out a notice to all the IIT directors and NIT directors, IIIT directors and all that. A presentation is being made on one innovation. All of you attend. Chaired by the Secretary of Education, Government of India. Okay. Mail been sent. So I made a presentation to about 100 directors. I never thought I'll get an opportunity in this life. Okay. Directors of all IITs, directors of all NITs, directors of all IIITs, directors of ISERs. A presentation on one innovation, right? Telling them how this portal can be used to support startup ecosystem in their respective universities. Right? So is this collaboration? Yes, this was collaboration. And we are able to take this to level because we are able to think of something that was not existent before. Something new. And then suggest that, okay, this can be relevant in today's context. And then requested them, please help us. We have done so much, now we need your help to see how more people can start using it, how you can support this activity and so on and so forth. And then we are able to get the interest. Right? So it's a very painstaking process. It takes a long time. But I think at the end of it, it's possibly worth it all. Okay? So many times we kind of have this feeling, okay, is all this hard work, is it worth it at all, right? Should we just do simple classroom teaching and then go away with it, right? It takes more effort. It takes more effort to do all of these things. But if you believe that we can do it, if you believe that we should do it, I think we should go ahead and do it. Right? And returns will come over a period of time. Okay. So I will stop here maybe, and if you have any questions, I'll take. And before I close, I will show a short video, and then we can close. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously there will be, and that is what giving us opportunities, right? So we have something which the industry lacks, and that's why we are able to work. There will definitely be, and there has to be. Industry has a different kind of resources, and academia we have a different kind of resources. And as long as there is an arbitrage between these two, that's when there will be opportunities. That's what I think. No, No, incubators don't help in funding. They are mostly giving the infrastructure for startups, right? I mean, a startup needs some space to work with, so incubator provides some office space that they can work with, right? They can provide some small grants, but not major funding. They are essentially like nurturing, right? They are nurturing startups in the very, very initial stages of their life, that's all.
So, sir, I have one more question.
So let's possibly, that's gone away? Okay. Oh, gone now? I wanted to basically just show some things. Not the video, but whatever I was showing. Okay, since we are in Indore, okay. So let's go to, let's say for example, let's try IIT Indore, okay? So IIT Indore among all IITs does not come in the top, then so IIT Indore is number 12, right? So I click on IIT Indore. So it's ranked 36 out of 404. So now there's a great opportunity, right? How can we make IIT Indore in the top 20? We can't directly say go to number 1, it becomes very difficult. How can we push IIT Indore to top 20? Can MBA students of this institute help IIT Indore to become top 20? Make great contribution. So they have 3 incubators, right? Number of startups only 112, right? No unicorns, no IPOs, no realized value, lot of opportunities. Let's try IIM Indore. So IIM Indore is 113 out of 404. Sorry? It has 1 unicorn, yeah. It has 1 unicorn, but it's 113. Right. So can IPS Academy become number 1 in Indore? Right. I think that's all we can all contribute, isn't it? Because we have large number of students, and students where can really play an important role in startups, right? So if we can have this objective, right, can we make this institute in the top 20? I think that's a great thing that we can achieve. Okay, I will stop here, and then any questions, and then I'll show the video.
Sir, here. Good afternoon, sir. So my question to you is, your education background is from BITS Pilani. You have done MSc and all. And after that, in 2011, you have won Best Case Study Award in business ethics and corporate tracks and all. So I want to know about the learnings and the experience that you have gained in 2012 case study of business ethics.
I mean, that is too far back for me to remember. But at the time, possibly I was just in the academic career, right? And as somebody who is actually using case study as a method of teaching, I was interested in writing some nice case studies in the Indian context. Because most of the case studies that we are using are all based on the case studies of the West, right? We're all set in the Western context. Then I wanted to see if we can write some case studies on the Indian context. So that's when I wrote a few case studies, right? I talked about the example of Bangalore International Airport. This is a case study that you are talking about, all of that, right? Then subsequently, I think I have not written any case study at all since then, because then I've started branching onto other areas of activity.
Okay, sir. Sir, any one learning from that case study?
Sorry?
आप उस learning मतलब आपने जो case study जीता है उस केस स्टडी में आप क्या चीज़ सीखे हो? आपका बैकग्राउंड साइंस में था एंड आपने बिजनेस एथिक्स एंड कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में उस स्टडी को जीता, तो मैं एक लर्निंग लेना चाहता हूँ उसके के ऊपर.
That's what I was telling you. मैंने बोला था ना अभी, वो तो बहुत पुराने का. I don't even remember the title of the case study now.
Okay, sir. No problem, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Sorry. I wish I had been more helpful, but then.
No problem, sir. No
Sir,
issue.
if we start dreaming from today to make IPS come towards the, the first ranks 1 to 10, what is the first thing that we should start doing?
In this? Yes. No, I think in this the first thing is that possibly I think we should maybe create some excitement about entrepreneurship and startups, right? I'll tell you, today many institutes that have gone this, they created excitement among the students, right? So what they did was they formed a startup club among the students, right? Entrepreneurship club among the students, right? And the students started to gradually got some interest in this particular subject. And then they got some speakers to come and talk to the students, right? And once the students are able to get interest, then the students will start doing their own things, right? They said, okay, we'll form an incubator, we'll do this, we will do that. But as academic institutes, as faculty members, I think the first thing is to see if we can channelize the energies of the student in this particular area. And starting with an entrepreneurship club might be a good way to start with. Here we also have an engineering school, right? There is an architecture school, right? So business management can bring students from all these things together, right? You can be the central point, where you can get technology, science, and all these things together and create a club. So entrepreneurship club can be driven by the business school for the entire academy. Right? So that is why I think the first step would be to do that, I feel. Okay. So I will possibly stop here and then maybe I'll show this video. The background to the video is, as academia you do a lot of things, right? Some will be related to academia, some will not be related to academia, but you do it because one is you are interested. And second thing is that there are some things which you believe that you can contribute to society. Okay. So I kind of very interested in seeing how I can take the idea of startups to different parts of the society. Okay. And one way to take ideas to the society is you need to have a vehicle to reach the society, right? You cannot write journal papers and expect everybody to read. What is the best way to reach different segments of the society? The best way is media, right? Media, everybody sees it, right? It cuts across all socio-economic divide, everybody sees it, right? I just want to play the video. So one of my activities has been to see how I can effectively create an entertainment program surrounding startups. Okay. And this is my second show that I am going to do on TV. So the first show was to actually do a conversation, which actually happened a couple of years ago. You can pause it. Yeah. So this is a show that we are going to create. We are going to start shortly in TV. This is basically a reality show on startups, right? Some of you might be familiar with startup Shark Tank and a lot of similar shows, right? And then we wanted to come out with a program that's very different from these kind of programs. Is it lunch siren, is it? Oh, exam siren, okay. So then I said that can we do a program with a difference, right? That takes the message of startups using a reality TV format, okay? And so we kind of proposed this, we have kind of sent it out, and then we shortlisted the applications, And now I am going to host this program maybe next month or so, right? So I just wanted to show the video of this.
வாய்ப்புகள் ஒரு முறைதான் வரும். டிவி தமிழ் வழங்குகிறது ஸ்டார்ட் அப் உலகை கவரும் பிரம்மாண்டமான ரியாலிட்டி ஷோ சாதனை சிறகுகள். ஸ்டார்ட் அப் நிறுவனர்களுக்கு இது ஒரு அற்புதமான மேடை. பிரைம் டைம் டிவியில் பார்வையாளர்களை கவருங்கள். பிரபலமான வெற்றியாளராக மாறுங்கள். உங்கள் ஸ்டார்ட் அப்பிற்கான முதலீட்டாளர்களுடன் இணையுங்கள். இதுவே உங்கள் சாதனைக்கான நேரம். பங்கேற்க விரும்பும் ஸ்டார்ட் அப் நிறுவனர்கள் 7871070903 என்ற எண்ணிற்கு ஹலோ என்று வாட்ஸ்அப் செய்யுங்கள் அல்லது சாதனை சிறகுகள் .dd@gmail.com என்ற மின்னஞ்சலுக்கு எழுதுங்கள் அல்லது QR கோடை ஸ்கேன் செய்யுங்கள். விண்ணப்பங்கள் வரவேற்கப்படும் கடைசி நாள் 31 அக்டோபர் 2025. சாதனை சிறகுகள், கனவுகளை பறக்க விடுங்கள். விரைவில் டிடி தமிழில்.
So conventional academic will possibly never get into all of this, right? But if you have to create an impact, different ways, it could be industry collaborations, it could be collaboration with government and all of that, then I think it's important for us to step outside of our comfort zone, step outside of our classroom and take up things that normally is not associated with the role of academia. Right? How we can go the extra distance to be able to do that. So for me this was a big motivation because I get a chance to enter into millions of homes, right? And where we can disseminate our ideas which can possibly influence a lot of people. Right? So that was the motivation. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Rajan sir, for your deep and knowledgeable insights on a very relevant topic, building industry academia partnership. We are all deeply honored with your presence and your guidance too. And to express our gratitude, I humbly request Dr. Pallavi Mukherjee ma'am, the coordinator of this ATAL FDP, to present a token of remembrance to our esteemed resource person, Dr. ATAL Rajan sir. Now we invite all the participants for a group photograph with us.
एक फोटोग्राफ सर के साथ हम बाहर भी लेंगे जब डायरेक्टर सर के साथ. अभी के लिए अभी ये ले लेते हैं. आप लोग आके सामने बैठ सकते हैं. जल्दी से आ जाओ. जल्दी जल्दी.